If you've been thinking about getting spotlights put into your home, then you've probably had the exact same thoughts that everybody else has, which is, firstly, how much is this actually going to cost me? And then straight after that, you're also going to be thinking, well, how many do I actually need? Because on one side of the coin, you don't want it to look dim, but then you also don't want your bedroom or your living room to look like an operating theatre. So in this video, I'm going to talk you through it properly. So what spotlights realistically cost, what's going to affect the price, how many you usually need in each room, and then of course the biggest mistakes that I see people make so that you don't waste your time or your money and end up with a result that you hate. Now, if you're a new viewer here, welcome. I'm Ryan from Sparks Will Fly Electrical, and I'm an electrician based in London that makes these videos so that homeowners just like you can make informed decisions without any of the sales jargon or the waffle added. And if you'd like to get a free quote or speak to me directly regarding any electrical work inside of your own home, you can get in touch by clicking the link that should be somewhere up here on your screen and also down below in the video description box and the comment section. Right, spotlights. Now, when most people say spotlights, what they're referring to, or what they mean, is recessed LED downlights. You know, the ones that sit flush in the ceiling and they instantly make a room look cleaner and more modern. And in my opinion, when they are installed properly, they look the bee's knees, okay? They look amazing. They can completely change the feel of your home. But this is why you can see prices that are all over the place, because spotlight installs can either be very straightforward or they can be very difficult to install. And that all depends on your home and the layout of your home. Now, there are mostly two different types of jobs that are involved when you're installing spotlights. One is where you already have the downlights and you're just replacing them. So maybe you're looking to get better fittings, maybe you want a different color temperature, maybe you're looking for something that's IP rated, for example, inside of a bathroom, whatever it may be. That kind of job is pretty straightforward because the holes are already there and the wiring is already in place. The other type, which is what most homeowners are actually referring to when they say, I want spotlights installed, is adding brand new spotlights where there were none before. So that is going to involve new holes, new wiring, planning a new layout, and then sometimes changing switches or adding dimmers and adding different switches in locations. And obviously all of that combined is going to take more time and effort in order to complete. So let me give you the cleanest way to think about pricing, because this is where most people get confused, and in all honesty, I don't blame you. For my business, as of right now, if we're talking best case scenario, so I'm talking plasterboard ceilings and I've got loft access above so I can easily run the cables neatly without fighting for my life. As of right now, as of filming this, you are looking at £120 per spotlight supplied and fitted. For my business inside of London, as of right now, that's my baseline. Now, if you remember one number from that video, it's £120 per light is the straightforward, nice access price. From there, it goes up depending on how awkward the job is and what it is that you want doing. And that's not me trying to be clever or trying to inflate prices and confuse you. It literally just boils down to time and access. If I can stand in your loft and wire it properly, that's one thing. It's going to be fairly simple and straightforward. But if there's no access above because there's another floor, let's say you're in a flat, or the ceiling is old and fragile, or I'm having to fish cables through joists and rip parts of your ceiling down and doing my best trying not to damage the rest of the ceiling, it just takes way longer. So the way that I always explain it to my customers as of right now is £120 per spotlight is the clean, straightforward job. Anything that adds complexity to that process adds cost. Now that includes things like no loft access or floor above, older ceilings like lath and plaster, or changing switching or adding switching, chasing new switching locations in, adding two-way switching, adding dimmers, or going down the smart control route where you can have an app on your phone and you can control your switches from that app. Any of those things increase the scope of the job, the time it's going to take in order to complete, and therefore the price. So what does this look like in real numbers for rooms? So I'll make it really easy and simple. Let's say that you wanted 6 spotlights in a bedroom and it's a plasterboard ceiling with loft access above. You're roughly looking at 6 times £120, so about £720. A typical kitchen might have 8 spotlights, so there you would be at 8 times 120, £960. Hallways might be 3 or 4, let's say 4, so you're looking at about £480. Now those are sort of baseline prices in order to give you an idea of the areas in your home that you want to have upgraded and what it's going to cost you. The reason that I like explaining it to my customers this way is because it stops it being vague. Okay, you can actually picture it. You could look at any room in your house right now and go, right, I probably need 6 lights here and 4 lights here or 2 lights here. So I'm around this number, this ballpark. And then if I want to add dimming or smart switches or add more switches in different locations, it'll be more. That's how it should be explained to customers, in my opinion. Now let's move on and talk about how many you actually need, because this is a really important part that people get wrong, and it's where you can waste a lot of your money if you don't do things correctly. Most rooms look better with fewer spotlights than you think, especially if you've also got things such as lamps or wall lights or LED lights or some kind of feature lighting. Bedrooms especially, okay? People overdo bedrooms all the time. A small bedroom, you're usually looking at about 4 lights. And then let's say a normal double bedroom, I would say 6 lights is more than enough. And then a bigger bedroom, it might be 8 if you've got a really big bedroom. But you really don't need to go crazy unless the room is massive and you genuinely need it. Living rooms are typically smaller. So you might do, let's say, 6 lights in a smaller lounge and then 8 lights in a normal to slightly larger size lounge, and then 10 or beyond if it's a really big open plan area. But this is also where I say, with regards to living rooms, that you need to think about dimming the lights, because bright lights in a living room at night without dimming can be brutal. You want your home and you want your living room to feel cozy, not like you're in a shop. Now with kitchens, you genuinely want slightly more lights because you're actually working in there. It's quite an active area when you are in there preparing food. So I would say 4 to 6 in a small kitchen, and then 6 to 8 in a standard size kitchen, and then 8 and beyond if it's a really big space or it's an open plan kitchen. With bathrooms, you don't usually need loads. I would say 2 to 4 for most bathrooms is absolutely plenty. Maybe if you want to go beyond 4, let's say 6 if you've got a bigger bathroom. And then lastly, hallways, they're mostly straightforward. It just depends on the length and the shape of your hallway. But I would say 1 light every 800 mil to 1 meter or so is absolutely plenty for any type of hallway. Now let's move on and talk about dimmers and smart controls, because I know a fair few of you are going to want to know what that involves. I'm a big fan of dimmers because it changes the entire feel of a room, but you want to make sure that you get the right type of dimmer matched with the right type of fittings. Otherwise you end up with flickering lights or buzzing lights and it drives people up the wall, okay? It drives you crazy. With smart switching and app control, they're absolutely brilliant as well. More expensive, but they are brilliant, and especially if you want that modern feel. But like I said, it's quite expensive. It's not a tiny add-on because sometimes it changes how the entire system is wired and configured, and there's extra kit involved. And of course, that's going to drive up the cost. So if you do want wireless dimming or smartphone control, just expect the price to go up. It's going to add to the cost of the job. But it also adds that premium feel to your home, and in my opinion, it's worth it when it is done properly. Now, the best piece of advice that I can give you if you want to get good value out of spotlights is to not do one room or one area of your home at a time. Because if you do your kitchen now, and then let's say you do your hallway in 3 months' time, and then you do your lounge in another 3 months' time, you're going to be paying for repeated travel, parking, repeated setup, repeated time. Whereas if you package it better, so inside of your home you have the kitchen, you have the hallways, you have the lounge or the living room, you have all of the bedrooms, the job's going to flow better, it's going to be more efficient for the electrician, and the finish across the entire house is going to look consistent. So you're going to have the same style fittings, you're going to have the same color temperature, which I'll talk about in a second, you're going to have the same dimming approaches or smart controls, and it looks like it was designed and not pieced together bit by bit. And also, the more lights that you have installed, you're going to be able to negotiate and get yourself a better price from the electrician that's installing them, generally speaking. And while I'm on that, here are some of the biggest mistakes that I see that you should absolutely avoid making. Number 1 is too many spotlights, okay? More isn't better, it often looks harsh, and then you never end up using them because it's too powerful, it's far too bright. Number 2 is color temperature. Now, people mix warm white and cool white throughout the house in different areas of the house, and in my opinion, it just feels odd. Pick a direction, pick a color temperature, and I would keep it consistent throughout your entire house. Just my opinion, but it's something that I would think about. Number 3, this is a big one, buying cheap fittings. Cheap down lights, they fail early, they flicker, they buzz, they stop working, they're not compatible with certain dimmers, and then you end up paying again later on in order to get the electrician back out to fix it, which is the complete opposite of saving money, okay? So don't cheap out and try and buy the cheapest fittings to save money, because it's going to cost you more in the long run. Number 4, which ties into what I just said a moment ago, is dimmers not being matched properly to the fittings that you are having installed, which causes the flickering and the buzzing problems that so many people suffer with. I'm not going to deep dive and get too technical into this, but you have what are called trailing edge and leading edge dimmer switches, and they work with different types of lights. And if you pair the wrong dimmer with the wrong type of light, you're going to get buzzing, you're going to get flickering, you're going to have problems. And number 5 is layout. Now, if your lights are randomly spaced or they're directly above where you sit and it's going to create glare, so let's say, think about a home office area, it doesn't matter how much you spend, it won't feel right, okay? The layout matters more than people think, so really think about it before you are having your lights installed. And if you're not sure, speak to the electrician that you're going to have to install them. Which also brings me on to, if you are getting quotes, make sure to specify exactly what it is that you want. So the number of lights, the locations and the access above those lights, the type of switching that you want. So if you want a mobile app control, or you want wireless switching, or you need switches that need to be chased down the wall, extra switches, all of those things are important when you're getting a quote. And also when you're speaking to somebody, if they can't explain what they are doing or what needs to be done, or their quote is unbelievably cheap compared to everybody else, that's an instant red flag. And not because expensive always means good and great, it doesn't. But because unbelievably cheap often means corners are going to be cut, the person isn't qualified, and you won't see what corners have been cut and what's been done wrong until later on down the line when things start either flickering or tripping or completely failing and not working. Now, if you would like to speak to myself about having any lights fitted inside of your own home or any type of electrical work that you want done, you can get in touch with me by clicking the link. It should be somewhere up on the top of the screen now, and if not, it's also down below in the video description and the comment section. And I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have, as well as give you a no obligation free quote. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again in the next one. Until next time, take care.